Hello.
Hey, this is Kenny of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. How's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad we finally got through.
Absolutely, man. Apologies. It did. Skype is acting up. I've been dealing with this for quite some time. And it's like 1 minute I'm on the old Skype, next minute I'm on the new Skype. That I guess that basically means I don't.
Man, I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm in the wrestling business, so half of my life, especially on the production side, is technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about it.
It's all good. I am joined with Casey Johnson, commentator of World Finest Wrestling. Big show coming up on June the 9th. And Casey will be there to give you all the action. And before we get into that show, I want to talk about you first. What made you
All right.
decide to become a commentator?
Well, I used to be a pretty athletic kid, but when I got a PlayStation 2 for Christmas and discovered that I could play basketball inside enjoying a burger, that kind of put the kibosh on anything that I had to do with actually wrestling in the ring. But I was always really interested in production. Like, I was the kid who would watch all the featurettes on the second DVD that was just features back when that was a thing. And when I found wrestling in 2006, I always thought it was this crazy, crazy thing that people actually got to produce this stuff for a living, and it seemed like the people who were the biggest fans had a headset on, and they were ringside. I'd always been interested in eventually doing something with production anyway, so when I went to high school, I did 4 years of production classes there, college educated with it, and once I got out of high school, Emerge Wrestling here in Columbus offered me a job doing camera. And after camera, a few months, I was put on commentary. And then within a few months after that, worked my way up to head of production, which is how I got in touch with World's Finest, Donnie Idol, who is wrestling on the show, and I've known for nearly 11 years now. The powers that be at World's Finest needed somebody originally just to film the shows and produce a DVD, which I do, I believe, quite well. And so Donnie sent them my contact info, we got together, and then we came to a mutual understanding that I can do commentary and produce your show and help you out a little bit with video editing and whatnot, posting promos online. So we kind of moved into a partnership, and I'm looking forward to every minute of it.
That's awesome. And you definitely have the PlayStation part. That was pretty cool. PlayStation still a thing after all these years. I still got
Yeah.
I got the PS2, 3, and 4. So I was kind of late on the PlayStation party. Um, Now, for the wrestling business, people prepare differently. Wrestlers get the cardio in the gym, exercise, eat healthy, eat right. You know, get the, get themselves prepared mentally, emotionally, and physically. You being a commentator, being the storytelling aspect. How does commentator like yourself prepare for a show like June 9th is coming up? Like getting familiar with the wrestlers and the
Well,
story.
I certainly don't eat right. Um, I will. So first things first, I have to do it.
Yeah, you say I'm still here.
All right. So the first thing that I do is I always message the wrestlers that I'm going to be working with, and everybody has certain things that they do and certain things that they have names for, stuff that they want me to get over for the match. I talk about it with the booker and kind of know where we're going and what we want to build. and then from there we just have to call what it is on the spot. I have a list of stuff in front of me all throughout with different guys' moves and what they want put over and stuff, but the one thing that you've got to do is work really, really hard on separating your brain from your mouth, or I guess directly connecting your eyes to your mouth, because play-by-play is a really, really hard job. When you are looking at something, what you see has to be out of your mouth immediately, and it's got to be right. Otherwise, well, you see how people treat Michael Cole online. Mm-hmm. So I find it really, really important to keep things fast-paced, put over the things that I need to put over, and most importantly, because I consider myself, like, what's happening in the ring, I feel like, is, if wrestling is a coloring book, that's the outline of what's happening, and I'm the crayons. And my job is to add context to what's going on, to the story that they're telling with their face, and the story that they're telling with their moves, I tell with my mouth. And I find that a pretty high distinction and a pretty important job, but I do it to the best of my ability, and I feel like I'm getting better all the time, so I'm just glad for the opportunity.
That is a great analogy with the crayon. Just, I guess, for me, as a fan watching the shows and just to get an understanding of the characters and the moves and the emotions that they're feeling, and it's that you got to keep people interested, and
Absolutely. And I think you were talking before when we were trying to get on the line about AJ and Nakamura and how the crowd was really tired at WrestleMania. And I was in that crowd. I was there at the Superdome. And one thing, I was really down on the match live. I was like, that wasn't that great of a match. They can do so much better. It couldn't hold my attention live. But when I watched it back on the network, because I refused to believe that those two couldn't have a good match, I refused to believe that they could have a bad match, rather. And so I watched it back on the network, and once you put in camera cuts and commentary, it went from like a C match up to like a solid B-plus match for me. And I think a lot of people discredit the job that commentary does, but if you watched that match live and then you watched it back, it was a completely different match watching it. And that's, after that I messaged my commentary partners in Emerge, I was like, I have never valued what we do so much.
Yeah, it was quite a night, regardless of what people feel about the show. I like the set. It looked real nice. I'm a Saints fan.
It looked great live too.
It looked amazing. Like, man and woman, shout out to you all putting that together. That was a beauty.
Yeah.
June the 9th, World's Finest Wrestling, Connersville, Indiana. There's going to be a tournament to determine a champion. There's so much going on.
Can't wait.
And just for you, go ahead, talk about this show. What are you looking forward to the most, and just and what can people expect when World's Finest Wrestling comes to Connersville, Indiana on June the 9th?
Well, what I have always really respected about World's Finest from the beginning, and even a couple of fans have commented this on various social media platforms, is, a lot of people, and I'm sure you've had to, help people put over shows like this before, where it's their first show, and it's a lot of, who's that? And where did they come from? and I've never heard of any of these names. But meanwhile, I've got the names for the tournament right here in front of me, and we're talking about guys like Apollo Star, Isaiah, Cody Hawk, right, Donnie Idol, guys who are established names in the Midwest. And, of course, in the tag team match later in the night, you got guys like the Wet Dream and Bomb Shelter. And the people who are competing for the Heritage title as well, we're keeping that under wraps a little bit for now, but these are more established names in our industry. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Also, I will say I'm a little bit biased because I work for Emerge, but seeing Donnie Idol back in the ring, I kind of have a special interest in. Last September, somebody, we did not know who at the time, broke in, wrapped a chair around Donnie's neck, and they finished the job. And he hasn't wrestled since then. Recently, we actually found out that was his tag team partner of nearly 17 years and best friend, Ricky Ruckus. And Emerge will not clear him to compete right now, but the doctors associated with World's Finest have. And so Donnie is doing this to prove that he is still the best and that he can do everything that he's always done. So, as the head of production at Emerge and somebody who's in the board meetings, I'm really going to keep a close eye on that one because I don't want Donnie re-injuring anything. But top to bottom, what you look at is just a fantastic card, a great night of wrestling, and it's something that the Connorsville area has been wanting for a while. They haven't had a really good, solid, consistent promotion running there. People do spot shows here and there, but Connorsville wants wrestling. I've even talked to people from the area, friends that I have from college that were from there, and they say, wow, I'm really glad that this is coming. I've been wanting this for a long time. I'll be sure to be there. So, especially with the caliber of talent that World's Finest is bringing in, 10 matches for $10 is not that bad at all.
Awesome. And let me get more info right. It is going to be at the Expo Hall, Connorsville, Indiana, located at 2690 North Park Road. And June the 9th is the date. Bell time 7:30. Go check out this show. Support indie wrestling.
Absolutely.
Support your local wrestlers out there that's performing and doing their thing.